Live from the Pathway Studios in Johnston proper. You are live from the path.
And you're listening to Live from the Path. We're coming from the Pathway Studios here in Johnston proper.
You ever feel like you're an actual moron?
Yeah.
I was reading a book today by N.T. Wright, and he had all these really eloquent words about Jesus. The book is called Simply Jesus. And I thought to myself, in a million years, I couldn't come up with this string of sentences that this fella has thought up. And I felt like a real doofus.
Yep.
But at the same time, I think I've said this on the show before, the hubris of writing books.
Yeah. I don't understand your position. Is your position that no one should write books?
Yes.
How will I do?
But also in the same token, I couldn't do it because I'm so dumb.
Oh. So, but it shouldn't matter to you because books shouldn't be written anyway. You read an awful lot for a guy who is against book writing.
I know. I don't know. I tried picking up some old books. Like I started reading Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll get back to the begin. I mean, obviously it's not the beginning of books, but it's old.
You're a real conundrum, Nathaniel.
I know. I said, people don't know how to write anything original these days. I'll go back to a Roman emperor. And then it was too difficult to read. So I picked up N.T. Wright because it's easy to read. And it soothed my soul. Anyways, all this to say is I came to a crisis today, guys, and it turns out I'm a real dum-dum.
That's the resolution of the crisis.
Yeah.
Now, hold on. To Nathaniel's point, do you think that the amount of words that have been used to try to describe Jesus or our faith or Christianity in general, how much of it do you think is because you're trying to describe such a thing that human language can't attain it, and so a lot of words have to be spilled, or it's a large amount of gas bagging? Oh, I think there's a large amount of gas bagging, but I think the first thing is also true. I think you can tell by the amount of Christian literature and books and publications that we will not be satiated with it. Like, you're not going to read enough stuff about Jesus where you go, okay, I think I finally got this. I can't take any more in. So the problem is if you're a moron like Nathaniel and I, then you think to yourself, man, because people will ask a question, or you think, if I had to just explain who Jesus is, or who God is, or who they are in comparison to those two, and extremely smart dudes have spilled 400 to 500 pages on minute details of a very small bit of that. How is it possible that you're going to go in and just overview it with your limited moron type ways? Think of how easy these concepts are, though. Like the base nature of who Jesus is and what he did is like 2 sentences worth of stuff. Now, it also can take up a billion books within a lifetime trying to describe, to understand the depth of, to get the full picture of, to see how it applies to your life too. But it's both of those things. I find Scripture to be that in general. You can read 1 Timothy and take a couple basic things from it and go, yeah, okay, I totally get this. The guy that came to it for the first time can walk away with something of value. And then a guy who read it for the 60th time is still walking away with something of value. And so I think it's the nature of it's the nature of Scripture, and I do think it actually that record would play itself out if it weren't for the reality of the underlying truths that were there. Sometimes I feel like I was leaning on the gas bag part of it. I'm sure, mostly because I feel I know there's that we need hands and feet. We need thinkers. We need philosophizers, people that can you give us a phrase or a thought pattern that really helps us dive deep into understanding who God is. And then we seem to have an awful lot of those, but we don't have, it seems, enough workers for the field, right? Like it seems like we're overflowing with gas baggers and low on the hands dirty type of folks.
I think that's certainly true from a Western perspective. I think we got under the impression, kind of post-enlightenment, that says, until we know all, we shouldn't do any, lest we move out and mistakenly. Like, I think this is what I really enjoy about people who, like, first come to faith. People, they get super excited. A lot of them have in fact, I've met numerous people like this. They came to faith and they have a really cockeyed view of of Revelation or something, right? But like they're the most enthusiastic dudes, and people are coming to know Jesus through their straight out enthusiasm, even though I think their theologies are cranked on the end of it. Because they didn't look out and go, this is good news. Let me make sure I've got it just so perfect so that I can take it to the streets before someone asks me a question.
So, but doesn't this go back to our discussion from last week when we were talking about, looking for false teaching or false teachers?
Yeah.
Right? Like a new believer goes out and like there's bits of theology they're just going to not quite have the right end of the stick about, but they're willing to tell anybody and everybody about the saving grace of their Lord Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? And so like when I watch people who are accused of false teaching, where I think there was a good discussion about it, but like on the other hand, they're at least out there trying to tell people about who Jesus is, and you're sitting in the back seats, critiquing what they're saying.
I think that was some of Dan's point, which is like how these people are going about doing things is better than your not doing anything. I think that's not entirely true, because like if you're directly misleading people, but I think the notion of identifying, again, remember the definition of what to do or how to identify false teaching. It's who's being elevated. The new believer is not elevating themselves. They're elevating Jesus. The guys who are the most dangerous of false teachers are the people that are elevating, well, let's just go with humanity in general, themselves or the other side of the humans, or self-empowerment or something like that. Things that are otherwise elevating humanity versus elevating God are probably the things that I'd be most concerned about. I'm not concerned about, like, everyone's got some theology. Like, I've got wrong theology somewhere. I just don't, like, if I knew what it was, I would change it. I don't know what it is. I'm sure I'll continue to read and pray and study, and I'll figure it out, and it will change how I speak about things 10 years from now, 20 years from now. So, like, I mean, everybody's a false teacher to a certain extent, whether it's ignorance or whatever.
Don't you find it odd that like some of the pastor fellas, like knowing that this would be a stumbling block for other people, like don't go out of their way to make sure that they live in a very reasonable house, drive a very reasonable car, right? Don't have like so-and-so ministries taking a tax shelter. You know what I'm saying? Like if you were worried about people stumbling on stuff like that, wouldn't you go out of your way to make sure that people could not turn around and accuse you of that?
Yeah, I would think so. Although, I mean, maybe it just the braggadociousness, the sheer boldness to otherwise elevate yourself in front of other people, like that level of confidence is necessary to fool them. Because, like, I mean, think of how many people you've looked at and you're like, oh, I can't even believe these guys are making dime one. But they are. And so it's obviously working. But, like, is it for a lack of caution? Because people aren't willing to do a sniff test?
I guess. I mean, wasn't that thing that people always said about Billy Graham is like for all the things he did and all the revivals he did and blah, 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 the guy stayed in the same house he'd always lived in, and basically had the same setup for his whole life. Yeah. Like never bought a bigger house, never bought a nice car, just stuck with what he had.
I heard tale, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard tale one time that somebody saw Billy Graham walking out of one of his crusades with, the offering that was taken that night or whatever. And so it was on the newspaper the next day, Billy Graham, blah, 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 this big scandal. He's taking your money. That's what he's doing with these crusades. And then after that, Billy Graham was never touched a dime, like physically, in the public eye from any of his crusades.
See, that's at least wisdom.
Agreed. I guess maybe that was the point. Is like, I mean, we already had this discussion, but I was just thinking about it. That like, it's the same. It's the Mike Pence thing, right? Like, it's the same reason I don't give rides home to kids from the youth group, right? I don't give teenage girls rides home because I don't want it ever to be ever a thing. And so, like, if you knew there was something that was worth protecting, wouldn't you just go out of your way to protect it? Even if people were wrong, right? Even if the thing if Billy Graham never stole your money, right? But if other people think that he did, he goes, well, I can help that. I just won't ever touch money. I will protect this because it's important, and I will make sure that none of that money ends up buying me something outside of a regular living man's means. But that's not the story that you generally see from a lot of the larger church pastors.
Actually, that's not the story for most of humanity. Take that on a same principle and apply it back to your own life and say, if something is worth protecting, why wouldn't I take every step to do so? And then think about any time that you've allowed some level of risk into your life, hanging out with, spending time with the wrong, negative influences, taking in media that you know is not good for you, news, whatever the things are that are tempting, indulging in a political discussion that you know is not productive, spending time ruminating on how best to take revenge against an enemy, whatever it is. Think of how many things, how great of things that you could look at your life and say that you have and how they should be protected. And then, at least in certain parts of your lives, perhaps how nonchalant you are at protecting them.
Yeah, I suppose there's a risk reward there, right? It's like some risk is saying that, do I have to expose myself to X, but I can't actually go out and preach the gospel to people if I am not exposed to X, right? That's different than...
Yes, that's different.
You know what I'm saying? But having a nicer house, you weren't at risk with the less nice house.
No, yeah, I think the point is to say that why don't some of these folks, because of what the thing that they have is so great, the influence they have is so great, they can actually do good in the world. Why aren't they more cautious in protecting it? The point is you can ask the same thing about your own purity, the state of your marriage, how you spend your time, all kinds of things where there is a risk to the things that you're doing, and we sometimes don't even take basic steps to protect it.
Oh,
and so it's a very human thing to look at it and assume that things are stable and familiar and are going to stay as they are without having to go to extra means to protect when we probably should have.
Well, I feel like that's very convicting, actually.
It was aimed at Nathaniel, but I'm glad you guys.
I'm in agreement. Okay. I'm also convicted.
Yeah, I'm
both now a doofus and convicted.
Here's the thing: it's pretty easy to give Osteen the old finger wag, and then I go, of all the things that I say that are important to me, did I allow a bunch of risk in?
Yeah, they're right. Exactly, that's the thought, and the answer is yes. Think about money or time or exposure to even the types of, for me, for example, it's just the types of news that I read. I read a lot of news, and some of it's just I don't need to know.
Like BuzzFeed garbage.
Yeah, why do I even care about this? Or so and so is broke up with so and what do I care? This is nothing to me. There's no difference at all. Why do I even need to take it in?
You've got to see what this '90s star looks like now.
Sometimes I want to know.
I do want to know,
but I need to not want to know. That needs to change. There's no reason to scratch that itch.
Yeah, but they show a real puffy face version of somebody.
They didn't really get work done. Someone photoshopped it, and I get sucked every time.
Every time.
And so, that's the stuff, I guess. And so, it's a very human thing to have something worth protecting and not protect it, even if it was super good.
Okay, so I think that's fair enough. Is once again, maybe that falls in line with where we ended up on the false teaching. Is I think you look at them as humanity, and then you can actually take the time to have a look at yourself and go, of all the things that I'm accusing them of, am I doing the exact same thing? Mm-hmm. And then I think this is true both of being able to talk to other people, especially other Christians, about what they got going on, as well as being able to have the gospel flow out of you. It has to be flowing in you first. You got to manage your own house.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Make sure that you are doing the things God had asked you to do, because otherwise, this is a good way to get burned out, right? If you're not full of what God has you doing, and you're trying to tell other people about the goodness of God without being full, it's going to come off as phony. People are going to see right through it.
Yeah, you're going to end up dry. Definitely.
Interesting.
Okay.
Thanks for bringing that up, Nathaniel. You and your deafness.
I think I'm gonna just so we have some clarity. I think people should write books. I feel like the Lord has put within them.
It's already been written.
No, it's not. So like, here's the thing: is that like it's the same reason why you listen. You could make that same case as why do you even have people teach the Word? It's available. Read it for yourself. God is providing people to say the world continues to shift. Like even if the word of the Lord doesn't change, but the context of the world around it does, and so.
But nothing's new under the sun.
Well, correct, but sometimes you have to write that down so people are reminded of such a thing.
Here's what I'm saying.
Yeah, how would you know that, Nathaniel, unless someone had written it down?
Let's just give up all these new books. Just read the Desert Fathers.
Let's not do that.
Let's do it.
So
they've already written it.
So I'm going to buy it, and then you guys, one of you guys can buy it and read it before me, who will listen to the podcast. What was the shoot? Now I forgot the guy's name already. Craig Keener, wrote a book called it was Miracles, and I think it's about modern day miracles, and he's cataloged a ton of verifiable miraculous things happening based upon Christian interaction, praying or whatever.
In the last 30 years.
Within the last 30 years, and like things that have been published in medical journals, things like the guys that interviewed the doctors. So this is not just hey, we want to believe in miracles, so we ask Aunt Betty, and Aunt Betty said the corn was removed from her foot after she prayed to Jesus. That's not this. And it's like he's talking about like healings of blindness and lameness. There's a lady that had MS and miraculously got control of all of her limbs and went 40 years. She actually recently died of COVID, but had gone 40 years and no signs of MS after the healing. And so I guess the reason I say that is that I needed that reminder. I needed someone who went through and wrote a book and checked everything out and said, look, God is still working in the exact way he has worked before. What God's promises then remain true and active now. And if you're not seeing it in your neighborhood, let me remind you that it's happening in somebody else's neighborhood. God is still doing that. And so you become emboldened and can greet the world with its questions and its worries or concerns about what the Bible teaches. And that's because Dr. Keener spent some time putting some stuff together and wrote a book about it.
Ah, crap, Nathaniel. Actually, I feel the same way.
Let's take a step back and realize who we're getting this advice on books from. An author.
Here's the thing, though, Nathaniel. I feel the exact same way when I read Fresh Wind, Fresh Fire.
I agree.
Right? I get fired up for the power of prayer and people getting together and inviting the Holy Spirit to do what the Holy Spirit wants. And that book fires me up when I read it. So, and that book has been not written by the Desert Fathers.
You've changed my mind.
I don't know the phrase Desert Fathers.
There's a group of monks around 200 AD that would just sit around and think about things and Jesus and write books about it.
I would say that if I had to decide whether I would read Fresh Wind, Fresh Fire again or listen to your explanation of those monks verbally, I would choose Fresh Wind, Fresh Fire.
Well, like I said earlier, my descriptions are neither good nor always accurate because I am a dum-dum. But yeah, you've changed my
read the books.
You've changed my mental thinking.
You don't have to
I'm going to read books.
You don't have to read all of the books.
Well, that's the problem. See, I get overwhelmed by the sheer amounts because then it's up to me to choose which one. And based on the synopsis on the back, they're all great. And then you get 10 pages in and go, They lied to me. This book is not great.
Here's the thing: is it worth it though to read all these books when you can take all this information in way faster from a podcast?
I don't know. Well, I mean, so sometimes you can. So actually, because I heard about that Miracles book from listening to somebody do an interview with him, and so I think that's all right. I think that's all right. Someone's going to read the whole thing, but it's all right if you're a podcast man.
I think I'm a podcast man.
Okay, Mike, are you a podcast man?
I listen to podcasts.
How about, are you an audiobook guy? You ever do audiobooks?
No.
Full books. Nathaniel?
I tried. It's if it's what's the right word?
Dramatized? It's got
dramatized. It's got to have some drama to it. I can't just be listening to Siri tell me a book.
Now, I think they read it too slow. That's why I can't listen to audiobooks. It takes too long.
You put it on at the double speed.
Yeah, I like to I can't take that in either.
1.5.
sometimes I listen to the show at 1.5. It's too long. It takes me too long to listen to it. I can't get it in the drive, so I got a 1.5 it. I know your pain, you podcast listeners. I know what you go through. I'm not cutting the show down. I just refuse because we are what we are. And you don't have, not to be offensive.
You promised an announcement of the show changes for this year.
Yeah. No, I didn't say show changes. I said big announcement on the future of the show in 2022.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. Ready?
Wait, do we have any music to play in?
Mike, give me a little something. Like the Sanford Son? Yeah, that's right. Okay, ready? Here it is, the big announcement, Live from the Path 2022. Absolutely nothing is changing.
Gonna be steady Eddie.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Everyone is always chasing the new good thing. They're going to get a new logo. They're going to change the format of the show. They're going to mix it up so that things are different. Listen here, we're not going away, and we're not changing anything.
No, we laid these railroad tracks in a circle, and it's just coming around again.
Yeah.
Choo choo.
So if you ever, here's the thing, if you ever tune in and there's like a new theme song, like they've somehow have killed or fired me. It's not going to happen. I am never changing the opening of the theme unless we move the show somewhere and I have to get Pants in here to re-record his portion on the Johnston proper spot.
What if we were offered like big money and someone said, "Hey, we're going to need you to change the opening theme"? Would that be a deal breaker for you?
Yeah. I'm not doing it.
What if they said, "Oh, we'll pay you enough, you don't have to work anymore. You can make your current salary, but all you got to do is come in here once a week and do a podcast"?
I will not prostitute my principles out for this money.
I mean, it's what you do by going to work. That's why they pay you to go.
Yeah, that's true.
You spend 45 hours a week doing something you don't want to do, and people pay you for it.
Okay. We'll have to pray on that one. We'll let the Holy Spirit take that. I don't want my stubbornness to get in the way. But I'm just telling you, like the notion of the program, look, we're not gonna change the opening. We're not gonna somehow get this down to like 30 minutes. That's not happening.
Nope.
I'm not likely to start cutting in commercials in the middle. I don't have any intention of looking for any sponsors. I may, if they come along, it's not like we wouldn't use them, but like, you're not going to see us alter the program to otherwise go and try to do something bigger and better. It is serving its purpose. I hope it's serving its purpose in your life. It is doing that for us. If that grows for whatever reason, I'm totally cool with that. I'll do my best to make your life better. Like if you're listening on an Android platform, you may have links. If you look in the body content of the last show that's out there, you'll have to refresh if you already listened to the last show of 2021. But like, I'm trying to put some bookmarks in there so that you can get to different parts of the show faster because it's a long show. And sometimes you don't have time to listen to it all. Sometimes you don't care, especially our opening because we ramble on and you just say, look, I love the advice. Take me to the advice. I'm cool with that. And so I'm going to try to make your life a little easier if I can. But anyway, I mean, expect another big announcement in 2023. But for 2022, we won't, nothing changes.
I'm pretty excited for this year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great.
You ready for some advice?
Let's do it.
Okay. Dear Live from the Path.
Yep.
Our daughter has been married for 3 years to a wonderful guy she dated for 10 years and loves dearly. Because she doesn't like his last name, she chose to maintain her maiden name. He understood this soon after they started dating. She's now 3 months pregnant and facing a dilemma about what to name their child. She's adamant that a hyphenated name is unacceptable. They have tentatively discussed a complete name change for themselves and the child. Her husband was adopted, and she feels there's no reason his surname must be carried on. He's okay with keeping his last name, but would consider a new one if she suggests something he likes.
Feldman, eh?
Yeah, Banderas. The problem is, she hasn't been able to come up with one that he likes. We're concerned this issue will drag on without being settled until our grandchild arrives. We recently offered limited advice, hoping they could work this out between themselves. I believe her husband is entitled to keep his name, and she as well, but I'm against the child carrying only her name. Any suggestions you could provide to help resolve this would be appreciated before our grandchild is born nameless.
Okay, I'm gonna start off with this gem right here. This is none of your Hoover business. This has nothing to do with you at all. This is of no consequence to you. Whatever they call the kid is irrelevant to you.
This is a super interesting problem, Ben.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying, like you can just watch this like Geraldo, like a television program. You turn it on, you sit on the couch and go, I wonder how this mess is going to shake out.
Yeah.
But you do that while you eat a cucumber and a Kit Kat bar at the same time. Could you say, this is of no consequence to me. I can turn this off and move on with my life and it will not matter. And so as long as you approach it from that perspective, then I feel like you can continue to engage and watch the show, but don't make a deal of it.
Yeah, it seems a little overdone to write into a late night podcast about this situation. When in the end, this kid, whatever he's called or she, did it say?
No, it did not say.
Well, either way, they're gonna call you Granny, and you can. That's it.
Yeah.
Call them their name, and they're gonna call you Granny or Mima or Mammy or whatever.
I mean, this is a very patient man, right? He didn't go to get married, and it's a newer thought where he go, look, I think your last name's dumb. I don't want to take it. And he goes, well, okay, I guess that's fair. And then a couple, 3 years later, she goes, not only do I not like your last name, I don't even want you to have it. So I want to change everybody's. And this dude, Johnny Patience, goes, yeah, okay, send some my way. We'll see what I think. And he's yet to have one ring his bell. And he goes, no, I'm sticking with the one I got until I hear better.
I think that's prudent.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think the guy's been pretty generous so far. But like, because she's made all the qualifications here. I don't like your last name. Qualification number 1. 2, I don't want our kid having a hyphenated name. Qualification number 2. I want you to change your last name to something that I like. Here's your options. Qualification number 3. Like, everything is coming from her camp about just having a distaste for her last name.
Now, if they were going to change the last names, why didn't they do that 3 years ago when they got married?
Yeah, did they not foresee this? Like, hey, we're going to have a trouble. Mr. and Mrs. Non-Biffelman are going to have a problem once there's a kid born.
I wonder if his last name really is all that bad.
I mean, do you think it's just something dumb? Or do you think it's like Bin Laden?
Wait, yeah.
Ted Bin Laden.
Yeah. They're like, I don't want... And it's already hyphenated, I guess. Yeah.
Double hyphenate.
Yeah, what if her last name is like Baden, and then their kid's name is Tom Bin Laden Baden? Be really unfortunate. I mean, I can see how this could be a pickle. And so, but really, I think this dude is being pretty generous with how this has shook out so far. And I mean, would you consider changing your last name if you could pick it, anything you wanted? No hassle, right? Your cards automatically update themselves, and you don't have to go fill out a bunch of paperwork, but right now, you get to change your last name. Would you do it?
I mean, not something for so shallow that like, hey, I just don't like it. Like maybe but let's say my dad like murdered someone.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to become Bin Laden Baden because it was better. I could see that. But not just like, I don't want to be a Heffelfinger. Like, I mean, okay, like grow up. You're a Heffelfinger. You gotta live your life.
Do you think people with stupid last names actually have a lower quality of life because people always bringing it up?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, what's the connotation? I haven't met a Heffelfinger. Have you?
I mean, look at that. What's that guy's name? Anthony Weiner. You know what I'm saying?
He became a politician.
That's what I'm saying.
Successful.
But is it possible that like the Weiner family has more of a struggle than say the Bin Laden Buns, or you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I was gonna say the Weiner family has a struggle, unlike the Johnsons, and then I thought, well, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it does. There is something about like a complicated last name that makes me feel like you got peanut butter on your belly. I assume Heffelfinger's been playing video games with a jar of peanut butter on his stomach with his stomach out, and then like he got some on himself.
Oh.
Yeah.
If you tell me that your name is like Chuck Heffelfinger, I'm like, Chuck's got peanut butter on himself. And that's not fair to Chuck. I don't even know him, but the last name does provide connotations.
When I was first engaged, I was engaged when I was in college, so everybody, at least around me, thought it might be wise to give their input that I should take her last name because they thought her last name was cooler than mine. Even some youth kids that I took on a trip to Branson.
They said, "Look, man."
They said, "Listen, you should take her last name because it sounds way cooler."
Yeah. I mean,
it kind of hurt my feelings.
I mean, you didn't create your last name.
I know.
Your parents didn't even have a choice in it.
I know.
It just gets passed on.
It just happens. And I considered it, and then I said, "No way."
Is this a Western marriage thing with the last name taken?
I don't know. I don't think it's a choice really in other cultures. I don't think this is up in the air. So
in Iceland, don't they? I was watching, what was it? Some CrossFit thing, and they have all these people from Iceland, and they still take like their father's first name, and then if you're a girl, it's daughter. So like your Emma would be Emma, Ben's daughter.
So there's a lot of people with the last name daughter?
Yeah, daughter and or son.
And so there's Andersons. This is where all the Andersons are coming from.
Yeah.
Iceland.
There's a guy named Ander.
And they still do this. I think because I looked it up and I was like, man, there's a lot of people from Iceland with the same like last name. Are they all related or what? And then it turns out that they're like the only country that still does this.
Huh. Interesting.
Okay, so our overall advice is, apart from it being a very interesting query, the answer is it's none of your business.
Yeah, like I might have more advice for the son or daughter working through it, but for you personally, you do not have to do anything. I think the cards are on the table. It's something they need to work out, and you should be supportive of wherever they land.
I want to change everybody's name.
Chill out.
Oh, come on, woman.
Cucumber.
We're just trying to pick out a stove here. All of a sudden, we got to jettison the whole last name?
I'm just saying, with really pressed to it, what would you take for a last name? You had to change it.
Hanks.
Hanks?
People might think I'm related to Tom Hanks. Everybody loves that guy.
Okay, all right.
Mike Hanks.
Nathaniel?
Recently I was going by the last name, what was it? I can't remember.
I want to change mine to Witherspoon.
Like Reese Witherspoon?
Who? Mike Witherspoon.
I mean, Witherspoon's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It was like Huxley Berry or something like that.
Yeah. What would you change yours to, Ben?
Boss.
Boss.
Yeah.
Ben Boss.
Wait, I take it back. I want to be Savage.
Nathaniel Savage?
Yeah, I knew a guy, and he was a teacher in high school that I had, and his name was Michael Savage, and we all called him Mr. Savage, because that's what
Wasn't
you
Michael Savage a radio show guy?
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they were of no relation.
I'd like to change mine to Macho Man.
Yes, it's 2 words, man. You can't do 2 words.
You don't
Mike
leave the
Macho
pause.
Man?
Don't leave the pause in there. Macho Man. That's how you'd say it. Mike Macho Man. Singular sense.
Yeah, okay.
My suggestion that as helpful as you might wish to be, this is something your daughter and son-in-law must work out by themselves. What's in a name is plenty, and because this dilemma is emotionally loaded, you should stay out of it.
Yeah, that's true. You should stay out of it.
Macho Man.
Don't even raise your eyebrows. What do you don't care what this kid is called.
No.
Whatever it is, it's going to have to live with it. You might as well be supportive.
Plus, you can call him whatever you want. It's his grandma.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Butch.
You can call him Sport or...
Butch Heffelfinger.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Just think, when I say Butch Heffelfinger, what comes into your mind? What kind of person is it, Mike?
It's not good.
Finger right in the nose. That's all I see.
Just because the word finger's in there?
Gold digging. He's right after it.
Nathaniel, what does he look like?
Freckles.
I'm going to say he's
Like that catcher from the Sandlot.
5'10", 260. He's got a
260?
260. Yeah, he's a hefty fella.
5'10".
He's got some thick curly chest hair that he likes to
Yeah.
have
man
pop
meat
out of
right
his-
out of the front.
right out the front.
He lets 3 buttons down just to let it breathe.
He's got a gold chain. He's balding, of course.
He's got to Aquanet that stuff.
Okay, yeah.
He's business casual.
Now, what if I said...
He's like a security guard for a big a firm.
Yeah.
Okay, now what if I said, hey, this is my friend Stuart Boss? What is he like?
He's got a suit on. For
Yeah,
sure.
for
No
sure.
5 o'clock shadow. He keeps it tight to the vest.
You call him Big Stu or Little Stu?
Oh, no. No one would dare call him either one.
Nathaniel would.
No.
When he's not looking, at least.
What's up, Big Stu? Oh yeah, he's a big Stu for sure.
That's what I thought. I'm just so there is something in the name. I think.
What if you ran into a guy named Mike Machoman?
I wouldn't get it until I saw it spelled out. You'd have, hey, if your name was Mike Machoman, you'd totally have to hand out the business card right away. Someone would look at it and go, Macho Man. That would be awesome. It's the thing that every guy would tell his wife. I met Mike Macho Man. Look at this.
Yeah. Don't you want to be Mrs. Machoman?
Okay. I take back my last advice. You stay out of it, except for to suggest the last name Machoman.
I gotta get some cards printed up.
It's Buckleberry. That's
Yeah.
what I was going by recently.
That's no Machoman.
I remember now. It was Buckleberry.
I mean, in certain circles.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do
You
another one.
sell tea samples. Out of a suitcase.
I'm Todd Buckleberry.
Yeah. No, I don't want any.
Would you like some tea?
No, I said no.
I've got chamomile.
Okay, you ready?
Sleepy time?
Dear life from the path. My significant other is a super nice guy who everyone likes and gets along with, until the topics of religion, spirituality, and afterlife come up.
Oh, boy.
Any discussion of these subjects, whether or not it involves him, is injected with his sarcasm, hostility, and sharp criticism. He refuses to be silent during the discussions and ends up intimidating people, which leaves everyone feeling judged and negative. I've tried telling him his attacks are unnecessary, unwelcome, and closed-minded, and naive as the arguments put forth by those who unquestionably follow any set of teachings. His diatribes are long, monotonous, offensive, and always ending with "show me proof," which is nearly impossible. He considered it, quotes, win, which reinforces his behavior. We've had this discussion several times, and I'm not getting through. I have a strong belief system, but I'll leave everyone has their own process for achieving spirituality. This is why I can accept him as he is, and I'm happy to spar with him in private. How do I convey how inappropriate and disrespectful his behavior is when he hijacks a discussion with his uncalled-for arguments and negativity?
Achieves their own spirituality. What does that mean?
That's like saying I achieved windy weather, right? You got no control of that.
I've arrived. Okay.
He doesn't sound like a nice guy.
No,
It started with he's a nice guy.
Super nice.
He doesn't sound nice.
Yeah.
And also, how often are these conversations coming up? Like maybe this is coming back to I'm a dum-dum, but I feel like, unless I'm sitting around with people from church, these topics don't come up very often.
You've got to be energized to evangelize, Nathaniel.
I know, but even you know what I'm saying.
No, let's talk about your lack of telling other people about Jesus more.
Yeah. So, I can't tell you the last time I got in like a spiritual argument in public with somebody.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Like I never have.
It doesn't happen.
I do, like, people will ask questions and stuff, but like I've not gotten into like a tussle.
Yeah.
Show me the proof.
You're not William Lane Craig.
Yeah. So, he's being a turd. Like, I don't care what he believes. He's obviously not. It's not working. It depends on his belief system, right? If he's a Christian, I would talk to him differently, and I'd say, look, what are you trying to accomplish here, buddy? Do you sound like Jesus? Like, when's the last time you saw Jesus go, show me the proof? Like, was that his style of evangelism?
Yeah, when's the last time Jesus said, put the lamp on the table and then throw daggers out of it? Right? Like, you're going about this all wrong.
Yeah. So, like, it's not effective. Like, if people aren't walking, like, you are succeeding in maybe being right or showing people that you're right in your own mind, but that didn't help them walk any closer to Jesus. And so, like, you're losing. You're losing for winning in your own mind.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's like someone saying, hey, can you hand me that bat? And the only way you can think to get it to the guy is to crack him over the head with it, right? Like you can't say like this is the only method of delivery for the bat or whatever. Like you are purposely going out of your way to cause confrontation, and you're not actually changing anybody to think like you. You're just alienating them and basically insulting them.
yeah, now it does sound to me like, based upon her description, like the guy sounds Christian.
He's not. He's the opposite.
Oh, he's the atheist.
Yeah.
He's the show me the proof person.
Yes.
Wait, so that's her description of his spirituality is the non?
Yes.
This is confusing when people talk about this kind of thing.
Yeah.
He doesn't have one. He's not. Has he attained that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because you don't have to do anything.
Boy, this seems.
Plus, show me the proof is the lamest apologetic ever.
Even as an atheist?
Yeah. Show me the proof.
I mean-
and feel like you won?
Yeah, right. It's immature. It's an immature way to go about it.
What if someone said that to you?
What's that?
You're a registered man of the cloth. Is that how you just go, ugh, that's a dumb way to end this argument?
If someone said, show me the proof?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't say that. But like to Nathaniel's point, like if you, so for example, if you're talking about the existence of God, like you're implicitly talking about something of which you know that you can't grab onto. And so like it's a very immature argument to ignore the implications of God's existence by simply demanding to be presented proof as if God does what you tell him to.
Well, and you can't. I suppose on the lighter side of it, you can't prove that God doesn't exist.
Yeah, I can't prove that mayonnaise doesn't actually turn into a brownie 300 years from now.
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like to feel like you've won a conversation after, show me the proof. It just seems really doofusy.
Yeah, it does. It's very. It feels like when a jock leaves college and doesn't have anybody else to impress with his stuff. That's the kind of behavior you're seeing at like 28. Show me the proof, huh? Yeah, huh? Take that.
So now we've ran into questions like this before from a married couple, and where someone says, "Look, they keep acting this way, and no matter how many times I bring it up, it doesn't actually change. What can I do here?"
Are they married?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would continue to have the conversation. I wouldn't load it up, but I might, when it comes up, say, listen, it hurts me when I feel like you ignore me, and what I've asked you about this causes unnecessary. You're not winning anything. You're not gaining any friends. You're not convincing anybody. But what you're doing is not only are harming relationships, but like as your wife, I've asked you not to do this. And you continue to do that. And I need you to know that like I still love you, but it hurts when it feels like you ignore what I'm saying to you. And that you find that whatever it is you're trying to accomplish more important than what I'm telling you is my reaction to it. And I mean I'd knock on that door as many times as it's true because I think it's okay to say it.
And you know what he say? Say, show me the proof that you're hurt.
He'd say, "You're ruining the Machoman name." Legacy of years worth of faithful Machomans. Okay, Secular says,
Machoman.
how unfortunate, not to mention rude and obnoxious, that your significant other can't control his impulse to hijack other people's conversations on these subjects. Was he busting into churches every Sunday?
That's what I'm saying. Like, how often does it actually come up?
His craving to be the center of attention appears to be bottomless. I doubt there's anything you can say to him that will transform him into someone capable of civil conversation. If it hasn't already happened, your boyfriend the boar will eventually find himself as welcome as a polecat at a picnic. This ultimately may affect your own social life, so be prepared.
Wait, but they're not married.
Yeah, they are. She said significant other.
Oh, well, they could not be married.
Okay.
So wait, does it change if they're not married? Do you take firmer action? I think I would.
Yeah, I mean, you want a lifetime of this?
Yeah, because again, the point is as a significant other, the spouse. The point is less to me about whatever the interaction is and that he's being ineffective. It would be that I'd communicated to him that I don't like this, and that it's breaking relationships, and I would prefer that he not talk about it. And because he's not saving orphans by doing it, there's no justification for him to continue to pursue this path except for his own personal delight. And what he's telling me is, and he will choose himself over me and things that I've asked him kindly not to do, that have no consequence him not to do. And like, I would want to know that before I married a guy.
I mean, even if you take the spirituality, religion part out of it, like, haven't you ever like been talking to somebody and you're kind of half listening to a conversation going on right next to you, and whatever they're explaining it completely wrong. And you know for a fact it's wrong. This is not even up for interpretation. They're just flat wrong.
Yeah.
Like, and you didn't immediately say, "Excuse me, I have to butt into this conversation," and then start grilling everybody about how wrong they were, right? So like his ability to be quiet and not, hijack the entire conversation, that's a bigger problem than the way he feels about his agnostic faith.
Yeah. Even if it's just this one thing. Like I know we talked about last week in one of the advices that like, hey, if you just got a quirk, sometimes you got to deal with it. But like, this isn't an innocuous quirk. Like, this is an unnecessary aggression that does impact your relationships outside of you and him. And so I think it's all right you don't have to ultimate him out of the gate, but I would, again, continue to communicate to him that why you want him to stay out of these types of discussions, how they're not helping, how they're breaking relationships, and they're causing you to feel undervalued. And then if he persists, then that's not a relationship you need to stay in.
Okay, you ready? One more?
Yeah, one more.
Dear Life from the Path, My husband and I have been, they're definitely married. My husband and I have been having the same disagreement for nearly the entire 20 years we have been married. He likes having his family, anywhere from 2 to 5 people, stay overnight at our house for 3 to 4 days every year. I am an introvert. I need some alone time, and I'd prefer they stay at a motel. He insists it would be inhospitable, even though we'd still spend 10 or 11 hours a day with them. I do not like waking up to other people, family or not. He grew up in a large family, while I did not. He actually threatened me with divorce. I'm not sure if he was serious or if it was just a scare tactic, but it hurt. If I was going to make him tell his family they can't stay here. I am 58. I haven't worked in 8 years and I have no skills. He knows this, so I feel I have no choice but to agree. What the heck happened here? He says I'm being selfish since it's only once a year. I know I'm lucky. He provides well for us financially and is a wonderful husband, except for this one obstacle. So I know I should just agree. But how do I get over my anxiety about this? I was saying, you picked every buzzword possible to try to explain how this affects you. Are you anxious about it, like actually mentally anxious, or are you just an introvert who needs more alone time? Or is it because you didn't grow up in a big family? Or is it because you don't contribute financially to the home? Or is it because he's such a wonderful guy? Like there's way too many different pluses or minuses on why this is a bad idea for them to be believable.
Yeah, I agree. She's kind of loaded up the deck here. I thought she was going to say, like, once a month. Because, like, if you're going to say, look, I need my alone time 3 to 4 days out of an entire year, and you're going to go, no, they can't stay here because I need my alone time?
I don't like waking up to people in my house.
I mean,
they're in your bedroom, or I mean,
like on the floor or whatever.
They invented a door. I mean, not some years ago that you could install and just shut the world out for a while.
Yeah, like you wake up at 4 o'clock with the shivers and like they're in the guest room.
I mean, here's the thing: the same apparatus protects you from the outside world. When you don't want the neighbors looking in at your place, you shut the door, and all of a sudden, that's it. Your place is now completely secure. So just look at your bedroom as a mini home and shut the door, and then make your husband get up and deal with them, make him coffee or bake him breakfast or whatever. I mean, maybe they're a real pain in the teeth, and you just don't like these people, and you're not willing to say so.
She didn't mention that, though.
No, she said nothing about it.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I don't like this, on the other side of it, I don't like this divorce threatening. It sounds like something that, my guess is that they're in some sort of heated argument, and he goes, you know, maybe we shouldn't be together if we can't come to a resolution on something so stupid. And then she's like, oh, he threatened me with the divorce. That's not the same thing. And so maybe it's something like that. Because what she described him as like a great husband.
Yeah. I mean, if you have the room to put up 5 people, and let's say that the family that's coming over aren't necessarily dangerous or emotionally toxic or whatever. They're just family, right? I mean, 3 to 4 days doesn't seem to be the end of the world, does it?
No, I think you said, I mean, it's not a big deal to me on the opposite side. Like if they stayed at a hotel, I don't think that, to her point, it's not a significant detriment, but like, I think you're just going to have to, I think you just need to say yes to this thing. And how do you cut down the anxiety? I mean, I don't know. First of all, I think you've got to figure out a way to let go of that you're right in this position. You're not. I think you're not. And so I think you need to come to the realization that like, sometimes your feelings betray you. And here's the thing. One of the keys to freedom in life is being able to recognize when you personally are overreacting and saying it. Hey, I'm overreacting. I feel like overreacting. I want to. This feels good to me. This feels righteous, but I know it's not right. Like she almost, I think, kind of said that towards the end there. And so, I think you need to be okay. Come to terms with the fact that you like what you feel is not actually consistent with what your reality should be. And allow your husband to remind you of that without biting his head off. Don't worry, babe. It's just 3 or 4 days. It's not a really big deal. I know you're feeling rough. I mean, whatever. Go to bed early. Like, if you don't want to spend that much time because you're an introvert and you don't want to spend that much time around it, because, like, I get people exhaust me. I get worn out just hanging out with folk. And so if you need to take a break, you need to go upstairs and nap. You gonna go to the grocery store, whatever. There's all kinds of things you can do to get away from these people.
Yeah, I mean, don't feel like you have to. And this is just in general. When you're having people staying at your place, don't feel like you got to over entertain these folks. 8 o'clock, part ways. Be like, well, you guys know where your bedroom is. We're going to watch TV or something, and we're out.
Yeah, I don't
right? There's just no reason to you're not putting on a show for them. They're your family. So be like, look, you guys need to go away. Go away for a little bit. I'm going to my room. You go to your room. We're good here.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Consider
think that's
this. This might be a bad advice.
fine. Great. That's a way to kick her off.
But let's say you get the motel, but instead of sending them there, you go there yourself.
You feel like that would rub the husband wrong who believes they're being inhospitable?
Is that his reasoning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know what the level of hospitality comes from, right? Like, does it mean like, hey, you get to stay at my place for free, obviously?
Yeah.
B, we feed you every meal? C, we truck you around? Or, I don't know. What's hospitable look like?
Yeah, I think once you're 3 or 4 days, I think you're 1 meal a day.
Yeah.
I think proviso 1 meal, and then they're on their own. Seems reasonable to me.
Oh, wait.
Unless you're like, I mean, if you're the type of person that loves to host people, then it's not even a question. But if you're a person who doesn't like hosting people, but you want to make sure that you're not being rude, then I would say you got to do at least 1 meal a day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 1 meal a day for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and let's say the wife's not a big cooker if she hasn't worked in 8 years or whatever. She don't have no skills. I mean, we order out.
It's a weird thing to
That's
say.
what I'm saying. Halfway through the argument, she's like, I'm 58. I haven't worked in 8 years. I got no skills.
Like she's plotting what it would look like to actually leave this man.
So I see the weird part is I don't know whether this is just a non-Jesus marriage or whatever, where people say weird stuff like, he's a super nice guy. Although I think that he might be holding it over my head that I haven't worked in 8 years because I got no skills. And so I don't have a choice but to say yes to this. Like, a good Christ-following husband doesn't do that crap. Right? Like, he doesn't have, like, secretly hold back the fact that you don't work or whatever and then going to use it to win every argument in the house.
Gosh, like what a
That's a horrible marriage.
It's got to be super rough to be in a situation where your marriage seems that feeble. Like at any given time, someone's willing to reach for that. Like that we don't even have that weapon in my house. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have a gun that shoots that bullet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things we might fire around, but like we don't even own one that shoots the, hey, we could get divorced gun or bullet. So like, but to think that someone could reach for that at any given time and like just to like to manipulate a situation or to bully it up, or even, I don't know, maybe it's even true. But it just seems a lot harder to navigate. And stressful, like for her to have and feel this way. Like I would never want to feel like my wife was changing some behavior because she was afraid that I was going to walk away. Like that's not an encouragement into a good marriage. That's a fear. And like that's not healthy. That doesn't build strong bonds. That doesn't create lives of joy, peace, and comfort. And so like if I was the husband, I would like to know, like he should know that his wife feels this way about the way that he's spoken, and he damn well should never say that again.
Well, that's true, and the husband could be doing a little bit more. Like, listen, it means a lot to me that these people get to stay here, but I know that it is your least favorite thing in the world. So, what can I do to try to make this easier, right? To make it better for you, right? Like, if you want to spend more time up in the room, I totally get it. I won't say nothing about it. I'll cover for you. Well, I'll make sure I'll take care of the meals and make sure that everybody's getting to where they're supposed to. None of this is going to fall on you, Yeah, and I think that's reasonable. Like, I think she's being unreasonable, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, people. There's certain parts of a family that will show up and just tend to wreak havoc, even if they're not mean spirited. They just cause a bunch of craziness, And like, I think you have to. You brought them over here. You got to take responsibility for them.
Yeah, but again, it is like 3 or 4 days a year,
right?
So I mean, it's 1% of the year.
All right, let's see what secular says.
Okay.
Secular says, the most effective way to deal with an anxiety issue is to talk about it with a licensed psychotherapist. Boy, that was like 1/52nd of that entire letter, that she feels anxiety. Because your husband provides well for you financially, you can afford to consult one. If you do, it may help you learn how to get moments of alone time in which to recharge while the relatives are there. Yeah, I suppose. I don't really know what to say about that. I feel like anytime secular has the option to blame a mental illness instead of some just good old-fashioned tough decisions, should definitely do it.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk to somebody, but like at the end of the day, the decision's still going to be there.
Yeah.
It's just how expensive you want to be to talk around it. What's the difference between a therapist and a psychotherapist?
I don't know. One sounds like they cost more money.
Just one, read your palms.
I don't know if that's a palm reader.
No, I think that might be a psychic therapist.
He read that in the book. Okay, hey, thanks for hanging out with Live from the Path. I got three things that I want you to walk away from. First is the Live from the Path shop has been updated again. We have the Slap Me and Call Me Diesel shirt from last week's episode, maybe 2 episodes ago, from the Call Me Diesel episode. Nathaniel's really cranking out the hits.
Yeah.
He's responsible for both Mississippi Don't Push and Slap Me and Call Me Diesel. So those shirts are out there in case you want to pick them up. They're flying off the shelves, but that's only because there's a hurricane in Bangladesh. So you should go out and pick up stuff from the shop. 2, I'm really interested what you would pick as the last name, if you could pick any last name. So I want you to give us a call or text on the Live from the Path complaint line. The Bob Eisenhower Live from the Path complaint line, 515-517-0085. That's 515-517-0085. Call or text the Bob Eisenhower Live from the Path complaint line. And I think Bob's looking for help at the Pleasant Hill, Iowa office.
What do you mean? He needs a realtor?
I think he's hiring. No, I think he's hiring for admin staff. So if you're looking for work and you want to work for old Bob, you just I don't know, just Google Bob Eisenhower.
Hold on. Give me a call. I'll answer. I'll take the job. Go ahead.
Yeah. Ring.
Bob Eisenhower Realty. This is Mike Machoman.
Hey, Mr. Machoman, I'm interested in your administrative
just
position.
kidding. I'm on lunch break. I'll talk to you when I get back.
Mr. Machoman? Mr. Machoman?
Yeah.
I'm calling for Bob
Hey,
Eisenhower.
Realty's hot, man. You're too late. You missed it.
I'm here for the admin position. I would like to answer phones.
Oh, no. I took the admin position. Mike Machoman works there. I answered the phones.
Oh, well, is there any other jobs available?
I'll have to check the one ads for you when I'm in the John. I'll call you back. Can I have your number?
No, I don't think so.
Mike Machoman out.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll call Bob tomorrow.
Yeah, this is going to be great. Okay.
I'll take on a second job.
And that's it. Thirdly, I don't know what the third thing was. It sounded good in my mind that I had 3 different things. Anyway, we plan to be back on the show hopefully next week. And if you got anything for us, shoot up on that complaint line or you don't need my email address. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us. We really do appreciate it. In the meantime, be faithful in the means. God will handle the ends. You've been listening to Live from the Path.